This podcast is a work of historical interpretation. While we strive for accuracy, some aspects of history are open to interpretation and debate. Thank you for listening. Let's start with the most iconic fake-out of them all, the crunchy taco.
Oh!
The Taco Bell classic. The crispy U-shaped shell packed with ground beef, cheddar cheese, lettuce, and guilt.
And yes, the taco as most Americans know it, crunchy, bright yellow, mildly spiced, and engineered for easy driving. It's delicious, but also very much not Mexican.
Wait. You're saying the taco I get from a drive-thru at 1 a.m. isn't authentic?
Renee, in Mexico, that taco would be considered cosplay.
Okay, shots fired. But now I need answers. Where did the taco actually start?
So let's rewind a bit.
Meow.
The taco has been around for centuries in Mexico. It's basically the perfect street food. Small, handheld, infinitely customizable. The word taco likely comes from the Nahuatl word tlaco, which means half or in the middle, referring to how the food is placed in the center of a tortilla.
That makes sense. Tacos are like edible envelopes.
Exactly. And for most of its history, a taco in Mexico meant a soft, small, fresh corn tortilla, usually handmade that day, filled with stewed meat, grilled meats, or even things like cactus, potatoes, or tripe.
Wait, tripe?
Oh yeah, tacos de lengua, tacos de tripas, organ meats. They're flavorful, tender, and revered in traditional Mexican cooking.
Okay, I'll take your word for it. And also never try it, although I have had fish tacos, in general, and they're not bad.
Yeah, but we're talking about tripe.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Yeah.
Do you want to remind our listeners what tripe is?
Go for it.
I said, do you want to? Tongue.
Lovely.
Yes. But the key is this. Authentic Mexican tacos are about balance. The tortilla is warm and pliable. The meat is tender and savory. You might get some chopped onions, cilantro, a squeeze of lime, and maybe salsa if you're lucky.
So no sour cream, like the best part?
Not a chance. And definitely no iceberg lettuce.
You're telling me that America just invented lettuce and cheese tacos and called it Mexican?
Pretty much.
That tracks.
Yeah. Enter the hard shell taco.
This is where the betrayal begins.
Right around the 1940s and 50s in southwestern U.S., Mexican-American cooks and food vendors were trying to speed up taco production. The soft tortillas were amazing, but they were also fragile, and you had to fry them fresh.
And when you're serving a crowd, speed wins.
Exactly. So some cooks started pre-frying tortillas into a fixed U-shape and stuffing them in advance. There were even patents filed as early as the 1940s for these pre-formed taco shells.
Okay, so Mexican-American women were out here innovating the fast food taco decades before it went mainstream?
That's right. But then along comes Glenn Bell.
Cue ominous salsa music.
Bell was a white entrepreneur running a hot dog stand in San Bernardino, California in the 1940s. He noticed long lines at a neighboring Mexican restaurant and decided basically, I want in.
So he just stole their taco recipe?
Kind of. He studied it, reverse engineered it, started selling tacos from his own stand. Tacotilla, then El Taco. But the real breakthrough was when he took the idea of those pre-fried hard shells and franchised it.
Thus, Taco Bell was born, and tacos would never be the same.
In 1962, Glenn Bell opened the first Taco Bell. He took what had been a fresh street-cooked soft tortilla experience and turned it into a streamlined fast food product, crunchy shell, seasoned ground beef, iceberg lettuce, cheddar cheese, and sour cream.
He basically turned the taco into a corn-based hamburger.
Yes, that's actually a perfect description. Ground beef, a staple of American comfort food, became the base. Cheddar cheese, which doesn't exist in Mexican cuisine, was layered on top. And lettuce, crunchy, watery filler, made it look like a salad.
It was familiar, safe, beige, and perfect for the American palate.
And perhaps, more importantly, easy to mass produce. Taco Bell's success wasn't just about taste, it was about speed, consistency, and predictability.
And branding. The talking chihuahua. The neon colors, yo quiero Taco Bell.
Exactly. Taco Bell didn't just sell tacos, it sold a version of Mexican food that felt adventurous but not too foreign.
So while real tacos in Mexico are still being filled with barbacoa and carnitas and cactus,
Americans were eating Doritos Locos tacos.
which are awesome. You know what? I definitely like those.
Me too, but let's call them what they are. Mexican-inspired American fast food, not actual Mexican cuisine.
So what does a real taco look like in Mexico today, Dan?
Imagine this. A small, soft corn tortilla, still warm from the press, topped with juicy, smoky carne asada, garnished with fresh chopped onions, cilantro, maybe a spoonful of salsa roja, and a lime wedge on the side.
You're describing my dream wedding.
It's simple, it's fresh, it's bold. No cheese, no lettuce, no sour cream, and yet it's incredibly satisfying.
So to sum it up, the quote-unquote Mexican taco most Americans know was built for speed, shaped for packaging, softened for the American palate, and marketed for mass appeal.
Yep, and in the process, it became a symbol of something it never really was.
But to be fair, it is still tasty.
Of course. We're not here to taco shame, just taco educate.
That's our next episode, Taco Ed, the cheese-lined truth. Okay, so tacos are complicated, but burritos are safe, right? Like, they're definitely Mexican. I mean, you can get them at gas stations?
Renee, do you trust gas station sushi too?
No comment.
Well, burritos are complicated too. Yes, they're Mexican, but what we know in the U.S. as a burrito is another classic case of culinary telephone.
Great. Now my Chipotle loyalty card feels like an historical document of misinformation.
Not quite. Let's break it down. The burrito does come from northern Mexico, particularly states like Chihuahua and Sonora. It likely dates back to the 19th century, maybe earlier.
So was it invented by an actual burro?
The name burrito means little donkey. There's a common myth that it came from street vendors using donkeys to carry food. But that's probably apocryphal. What is real is that the burrito was designed for portability. Workers, soldiers, travelers, they needed food they could eat with one hand, wrapped in a flour tortilla.
Wait, flour? I thought corn was the tortilla standard.
It is in most of Mexico, but up north, where wheat grows better than corn, flour tortillas became the go-to. And Renee is opening her snack, even though her snack is not for this episode. And they were a bit sturdier for...
No, is it annoying? No, is that noise aggravating while you're trying to read?
And they were a bit sturdier for holding stewed meats or beans. A classic northern Mexican burrito might just have one or two fillings, say beans and cheese or meat and potatoes.
So where did we go from modest lunch wrap to gut-busting 3-pound meat bomb?
Welcome to San Francisco, baby. The modern super burrito was born in the 1960s in the Mission District of San Francisco. Mexican and American taquerias started building larger, more filling burritos, big enough to satisfy blue-collar workers with massive appetites and short lunch breaks.
So this was like the original working man's protein bar.
Exactly, but they also added rice, which wasn't a traditional burrito ingredient yet. Then came lettuce, salsa, sour cream, guacamole, shredded cheese, and pretty soon you're looking at a tortilla-wrapped food court.
It's like a potluck in a sleeping bag. It's a good analogy.
It only grew from there. By the 1990s, chains like Chipotle had perfected the art of burrito personalization. The idea wasn't just to order a burrito, it was to build your own burrito identity.
Rice or no rice, pinto or black beans, steak or tofu, mild or, oh God, what have I done, salsa.
Exactly. The burrito became a customizable American experience. It's no longer just a Mexican dish. It's a lifestyle, a vehicle for protein, a spiritual tortilla-based journey.
And somehow, it still tastes amazing cold at 3 a.m. the next day.
But here's the real kicker. In Mexico, if you walk into most regions and ask for a burrito the size of your forearm, you'll get some very confused looks.
So what do they eat instead?
Well, in central and southern Mexico, people are more likely to eat tacos, tamales, quesadillas, tlacoyas, and atoitos, small street snacks. Burritos are mostly a northern regional item, and even there, they're simple, no rice, no fancy fillings.
I feel like America gave a burrito a gym membership and made it drink protein shakes.
And then,
Everything's bigger in America.
and then deep fried it and called it a chimichanga. But we'll get to that.
So where do wet burritos come in? The ones smothered in sauce and melted cheese that are so yummy, yummy, yummy.
That's a Tex-Mex invention. It's basically an American enchilada in disguise. Again, delicious, but not Mexican.
So the burrito as we know it, a big, bold, barbacoa packed, is basically an edible love letter from American Mexicans. I said that backwards. So the burrito as we know it, big, bold, barbacoa packed, is basically an edible love letter from Mexican-American communities to American appetites?
Yes, and it's a fantastic example of culinary adaptation. It's not fake, it's evolved. It was created to feed people in a different context. New audience, new ingredients, new vibe.
Like a remix. The Mission District remix.
Exactly, and now it's a nationwide phenomenon, from Taco Bell to gas stations to hipster burrito trucks with names like Rap Game Strong.
Okay, that's not a great name.
But remember, just because something is inspired by Mexican food doesn't mean it's authentic Mexican cuisine.
Yeah. Still, next time I'm halfway through a double-wrapped Chipotle burrito and wondering where my ability to move went, I'll think of the humble beans and cheese burrito that started it all.
And maybe thank a few Mexican-American workers at San Francisco while you're at it.
To the burrito pioneers, we owe you everything, and probably some heartburn pills. Dan, we need to talk about nachos.
We do, because what started as a quick snack has become a national pastime, and also the reason I can't fit into my 2014 jeans.
Same. Or 2017 jeans.
Or 2025 jeans.
But let's be honest, nachos are amazing. Gooey cheese, salty chips, spicy peppers, and like someone turned chaos into cuisine.
True, but once again, they're not quite what we think they are. Let's rewind to 1943.
World War II. Imagine that. Gas was rationed, men were at war, and in a sleepy border town, one man dared to fry a tortilla. Mother fudger!
That's not his name.
World War II. Imagine that. Gas was rationed, men were at war, and in a sleepy border town, one man dared to fry a tortilla.
That man was Ignacio Anaya Garcia, known to his friends as Nacho. He was working at a restaurant called the Victory Club, Piedras Negras, Mexico, just across the border from Eagle Pass, Texas.
And one fateful evening, a group of American Army wives showed up after hours hungry and tired.
The kitchen was already closed, but Nacho, ever the hero, didn't turn them away. He ducked into the back, grabbed what he had, some fresh tortilla pieces, a bit of cheese and some pickled jalapenos, and improvised.
He fried the tortillas into chips, melted cheese on top, tossed on the peppers, and served them with hot nachos special.
And they loved it. Word spread, the dish became a local favorite. Over time, it was shortened to just nachos, and soon restaurants all over northern Mexico and southern Texas were serving variations.
A legend was born out of leftovers. It does look like leftovers when you're eating nachos. Not that that's a bad thing.
Yeah, and in its original form, nachos were very simple. 3 ingredients: fried tortilla chips, melted cheese, and jalapenos.
No meat?
Nope.
No beans?
Nope.
No guacamole, sour cream, pico de gallo, queso drizzle, chipotle ranch, shredded pork, or tiny edible sombreros?
None of the above. The original nachos were elegant, minimal, and by today's standards, pretty light.
So what happened?
America happened.
Go figure.
As nachos crossed the border into the U.S. restaurants, especially in the 70s and 80s, They began to evolve. American sports stadiums, in particular, saw potential in them. Portable, shareable, customizable, cheap.
And this is where we meet the pump.
Yep. Nacho cheese sauce. Bright orange, shelf-stable, served from a plastic bag with a spigot.
That stuff defies the laws of food and physics.
And yet, it's delicious, even if it legally can't be called cheese in some states. That's not a joke. It's often labeled as a cheese product because it doesn't meet the FDA definition of actual cheese.
That is horrifying and not really oddly comforting.
The stadium nacho, as we know it, chips plus molten cheese-like substance, was popularized in the 1970s by a man named Frank Liberto, who sold them at Texas Rangers games. Within a few years, they were everywhere. Movie theaters, Little League snack stands, bowling alleys.
And at some point, someone thought, you know what this needs? Ground beef.
And black olives and sour cream and beans and corn and tomatoes and shredded chicken and a drizzle of jalapeno ranch, and eventually you needed a fork.
Maybe a knife. At which point, they're not even nachos anymore. I don't know about that. They're just lasagna wearing a cowboy hat.
But here's where it gets even weirder. Nachos in the U.S. are actually split into two distinct categories. Type 1, stadium nachos. Chips and liquid cheese born in Texas, survived third quarter. Type 2, fully loaded nachos. Pile of toppings, possibly served on a skillet, usually found at casual dining chains.
Shout out to Chili's, Applebee's, and every bar that thinks one jalapeno slice per chip is enough.
But if you go to restaurants in Mexico and order nachos, most of the time they'll know what you mean, but they'll often serve something closer to the original. Minimal toppings, real cheese, baked or broiled, and no mystery sauce.
So the American nacho has become its own thing. Again.
Yes. It's not unauthentic. It's evolved. It's the result of a cross-border snack going mainstream. And you know what?
What?
I'm still going to eat them during every football game forever.
Do you watch football a lot, Dan?
Oh, yes, all the time. Especially
that
when
was dripping with sarcasm. Same, but I'll think of Nacho the Man every time I lift a cheese-drenched chip.
As we all should. May his memory live on in sodium and spice.
And may his jalapenos always be pickled to perfection. Dan, they're coming. I can hear them.
It's happening. Somebody ordered the fajitas.
You know the rules. One sizzling skillet walks by and suddenly half the restaurant rethinks their life choices.
Because no dish has been more carefully engineered to hijack your brain with sound, smell, and jealousy.
It's culinary peer pressure.
And it works. But as with everything today, what you're picturing as authentic Mexican fajitas is actually another all-American remix.
Let's do the remix. That's definitely you.
Let's ride back to the 1930s and 40s, deep in the heart of Texas, where in cattle country, long before Chili's or on the border, there were vaqueros, Mexican cowboys working the ranches.
Hard work, long days, and questionable sunburns.
Exactly. These cowboys were often paid, in part, with meat. But not the prime cuts, they got the leftovers. And that included a very tough, stringy, flat cut of beef called skirt steak, the diaphragm muscle of the cow.
Which sounds delicious.
It wasn't. At least not right away, but vaqueros are nothing if not resourceful. They marinated that tough meat for hours in lime garlic spices, then grilled it hot and fast over open flame.
Slice it up thin, wrap it in a warm flour tortilla.
Boom. The original fajita. The name comes from the Spanish word faja, meaning belt or strip, as in the cut of meat.
So it literally means little belt steak. That's oddly adorable.
It was a working-class meal. Tough meat turned tender through skill and time. No sizzling plate, no cheese waterfall, just meat, tortilla, and survival.
So when did the theatrics start?
That comes later, in the 1960s, when a guy named Sonny Falcon, a meat market manager in Austin, started selling fajitas at rodeos and festivals.
Wait, Sonny Falcon? That's a superhero name.
Or a country singer, but he's known as the Fajita King. He helped popularize the idea of grilled skirt steak served hot off the grill, and eventually on cast iron platters.
And then?
Enter chain restaurants in the 1980s and 90s. Places like Chili's, El Torito, Chi-Chi's, and Chevy's Fresh Mix took the humble fajita and turned it into dinner theater.
The sizzle wasn't just cooking, it was marketing.
Absolutely. Their dramatic sound, the smoke cloud, the aroma that punches every other table in the face. It became the showstopper of casual dining.
It's like the food version of someone riding a motorcycle into the room and yelling, "Look at me!"
Is that one of your lines from that show?
No.
Oh, okay.
Although, could be.
And it worked because fajitas aren't just food, they're an event.
So what started as grilled meat on a tortilla became
A production. You've got grilled onions and bell peppers, multiple protein options, steak, chicken, shrimp combo, sour cream, shredded cheese, salsa, guacamole, flour tortillas, and a side of tortillas wrapped in foil like a Christmas present.
also bonus points if they light something on fire near your face.
Some places actually do that. Pour tequila on the skillet and ignite it tableside.
Is that tequila abuse?
Who cares? Tequila's not the greatest beverage.
And if you're not careful, you'll need a fajita-related insurance claim.
No joke, there have been lawsuits over fajita burns. One guy sued Applebee's because the sizzle startled him and he knocked the plate onto his lap.
Look, fajitas are dangerous. They come in hot, they sound angry, and they leave you bloated and smoky. It's like dating your high school ex again.
Exactly. But once again, despite being labeled as Mexican, this version of fajitas, with the steakhouse vibe, massive sides, and drama, is really a Tex-Mex creation.
You won't find sizzling skillets in most taquerias in Mexico.
Correct. You'll find grilled meat tacos, often called tacos al carbón or tacos de arrachera, but they're typically served on a plate with fresh tortillas and a few sides. No spectacle.
So, in Mexico, fajitas are dinner. In America, they're the halftime show. And yet, no one knows whether to eat them with a fork or wrap it like a taco.
That's the fajita paradox. You get all the ingredients unassembled like a spicy IKEA meal, and the pressure is on you to build your own without dropping shrimp in your lap.
And there's always that guy who eats... And there's always that guy who just eats it directly off the skillet.
Savage behavior.
So, what counts as a real fajita?
If you want to go old school, grilled skirt steak, marinated and sliced, served with warm flour tortillas, grilled onions, and a few toppings like fresh salsa or guacamole.
No cheese fountain?
Nope, and no sizzle plate, unless you brought your own.
Darn it. So fajitas are another dish that started Mexican, passed through Texas, and ended up getting the Broadway treatment.
Exactly, and like everything else on this list, it doesn't make it bad, just different.
I still love the dramatic sizzling skillet, but I love knowing where it came from even more.
That's what this show is all about.
And now I want fajitas. Let's find a place that brings out the skillet with a fog machine and a laser light show.
Fajita Rave 3000. Let's go.
Dan, what if I told you there's food that starts as a burrito, takes a swan dive into boiling oil, comes out crispy, golden, and confused?
I'd say welcome to the chimichanga.
The burrito that got mugged by a state fair.
Or the love child of a burrito and a corn dog. It's hard to say, but one thing is certain. If there's one thing Americans love more than meat wrapped in carbs,
it's meat wrapped in carbs and then deep fried.
So chimichangas, or chimis, are classic American Southwest comfort food. And like all good comfort food, their origin story is hotly contested and possibly total nonsense.
Multiple restaurants claim to have invented it, right?
At least two, maybe more. One of the most famous claims comes from El Charro Cafe in Tucson, Arizona, a beloved Mexican restaurant that's been around since 1922.
Legend has it the owner, Monica Flynn, accidentally dropped a burrito into the fryer while cooking. She allegedly blurted out a Spanish curse word, caught herself mid-swear, and instead yelled chimichanga.
Which, fun fact, is a nonsense word. Kind of like thingamajig or whatchamacallit. In some Mexican dialects, it might loosely mean little thing or even a cleaned-up substitute for something profane.
So the name of the dish is basically a hot, crispy oops.
Yes, and it caught on. Flint kept serving the fried burrito at her restaurant, and customers loved it. Other sources say it originated in Phoenix, or was invented by Tucson's Macao's Mexican Kitchen, or came from Sonoran street food.
So we don't actually know who invented it.
Nope, but we do know where it took off. Arizona. Chimichangas are deeply tied to Arizona and New Mexico food culture. They're big, they're bold, they're crispy, and they're definitely not traditional Mexican.
So what's in one?
At its core, a chimichanga is a burrito, a flour tortilla filled with meat, beans, maybe rice, then rolled tight. But instead of being steamed or grilled, it's dropped into a fryer.
That changes everything.
The tortilla becomes golden and flaky. The inside stays hot and gooey. Sometimes they're served plain, but more often, especially in Tex-Mex places, they're smothered in melted cheese, enchilada sauce, or both.
Like a burrito that got a makeover for a red carpet appearance with queso.
And that brings us to the real reason chimichangas thrived in the U.S. Presentation. They're big, dramatic, rich, and totally customizable.
You can fill them with beef, chicken, barbacoa, even shrimp. Top them with sour cream, guacamole, lettuce, pico ranch. It's basically a flour-based trophy for your bad decisions.
Now, despite the Spanish name and Mexican roots of its components, chimichangas are a purely Mexican-American or Tex-Mex invention.
You won't find them on traditional menus in Mexico?
Almost never. If you walk into a restaurant in Mexico and ask for a chimichanga, they'll either laugh or bring you an empty plate as a joke.
So this is one of those created for Americans by Mexican-American situations.
Bingo. Much like the burrito's Mission District evolution, chimichangas were adopted for American appetites, fried, oversized, and often covered in sauces. Everything we love.
It makes sense. In a culture where you can deep fry butter at a country fair, a fried burrito isn't just expected, it's inevitable.
Which brings us to chimichanga's spiritual homeland, the state fair.
Where every food gets dunked in hot oil like it's part of an initiation ritual.
Exactly. Chimichangas are a natural fit. Easy to make, crispy on the outside, warm on the inside, and highly adaptable. Plus, they photograph well. It's hard to beat that golden flaky exterior.
And they sound fun. Chimichanga. It's like ordering a cartoon character.
And by the way, that's the story of so much Americanized food. Take something traditional, give it flash and flair, wrap it in cheese, and make it Instagrammable.
Okay, real talk. Are chimichangas offensive?
Great question. And the answer is not inherently. Chimichangas are a product of cultural adaptation, not appropriation.
Because they weren't stolen from Mexican tradition. They were invented here by Mexican-American cooks. Right?
Yes, these dishes reflect the realities of immigrant life, working with what's available, appealing to local customers, and creating something new. The chimichanga is a love letter to flavor and survival.
So it's not about being fake Mexican. It's about being real Tex-Mex.
Exactly. And like burritos and nachos, chimichangas show how food evolves across borders.
So what have we learned today?
If you drop something in the fryer by accident, don't
panic.
Just name it something fun and keep serving it.
That is good life advice and can be applied in so many situations.
Yes. Next time you fall into the deep fryer. And if you're ever in Tucson, El Charro Cafe still serves chimichangas. It's practically a pilgrimage.
Haven't been to Tucson in a long time. That would be fun. We could go, we'll order each, and then we'll nap for 6 hours in separate beds and separate rooms. So, after 5 deep-fried, cheese-smothered, mispronounced segments, I feel like we need a moment of reflection.
Agreed, because everything we've talked about so far, crunchy tacos, giant burritos, mountain nachos, sizzly fajitas, chimichangas, they're all delicious.
But not really Mexican.
Not in the traditional sense. What they are is something else, something uniquely border-born, immigrant-forged, and endlessly American.
Dan, are we finally saying the T word? Although we've actually said it already.
Yes, it's about time we talk about Tex-Mex.
Okay, I've heard this term my whole life, usually on neon signs outside chain restaurants, even though I grew up in Southern Ohio. But what is Tex-Mex technically?
Tex-Mex is short for Texas Mexican, a regional cooking style born from the blending of Tiano, Texas-based Mexican traditions, and Anglo-American ingredients and preferences.
So it's a fusion cuisine.
Exactly, but it's not new. Tex-Mex has been around for over 150 years. It goes back to the 1800s, to the descendants of Mexican families who were living in Texas even before it became part of the United States.
When it was its own country for about 10 years there, too.
Yeah.
So this isn't modern fusion, this is heritage fusion.
Right. These were people who maintained their Mexican food traditions but adapted them to life in Texas, where the climate, livestock, agriculture, and supply chains were all different.
Let me guess, more beef, more wheat, more cheese.
You nailed it. In northern Mexico, pork and goat are more common. In Texas, cows for days. So beef became dominant in Tex-Mex. Think chili con carne, brisket tacos, and ground beef enchiladas.
And the tortillas?
Corn tortillas were still used, but flour tortillas exploded in popularity in Texas, easier to make with local wheat, and they paired well with heartier meals.
And what about the beans?
Tex-Mex leaned heavily into refried beans, sometimes blended into a creamy paste, sometimes chunky, always rich, usually cooked with lard or bacon fat, and often served alongside Mexican rice, which was another U.S.-Mexican evolution.
So when did cheese show up and start being everywhere and awesome?
That's a huge Tex-Mex hallmark. In traditional Mexican cooking, cheese is used sparingly, maybe some French queso fresco crumbled on top, or a bit of melted Osaka cheese inside a quesadilla.
But Tex-Mex said, what if the cheese was the main character?
Yep, cheddar, Monterey Jack, Colby, all American-born cheeses started showing up in huge quantities. Smothered, melted, layered, baked, cheese enchiladas, cheese dips, queso, everything.
So Tex-Mex is like Mexican food turned up to an 11.
That's one way to put it. Bigger portions, bolder spices, more grease, more dairy, more sauce. In short, Mexican food Americanized through Texas.
Okay, but is Tex-Mex controversial?
It can be. For a long time, Tex-Mex was presented as Mexican food to people who didn't know any better. And that's where the problem starts.
Because if your only exposure to Mexican food is, say, a Velveeta-filled chimichanga from a chain restaurant in Kansas, you might think that's all there is to it.
Exactly, and that erases the depth and diversity of actual Mexican cuisine, which has regional variations, indigenous influences, and centuries of technique. It's like saying all Italian food is just spaghetti and meatballs.
So when people talk about appropriation in food, they're often reacting to that erasure.
Yes, not to Tex-Mex itself, but to how it's marketed and perceived. Tex-Mex is valid and valuable. It's real cuisine with real history, but it should be understood as its own thing.
So walk me through it. How would I tell the difference between Tex-Mex and Mexican food?
Let's play a game. I'll name a dish. You guess which one it is.
Okay, hit me.
Oh, I was hoping for a don't you dare. Crispy taco with ground beef, lettuce, cheddar, and sour cream.
Tex-Mex.
Soft taco with grilled carne asada, cilantro, onions, and lime.
Mexican.
Queso dip with rotel and Velveeta.
Tex-Mex. I hate Velveeta, so I'm not saying that. I hate that fake cheese. I really do. Like the spray cheese, no. Mm-mm.
No, this is like the block.
No, I know, but either like any of that stuff. Yeah, no.
The spray cheese I like putting on pretzels. Like you get those pretzel nuggets.
But no. But yeah, I mean, I don't like those nuggets either.
Well. But enchiladas covered in red chili sauce and melted cheese.
Tex-Mex.
Chicken mole poblano served with sesame seeds.
Mexican. Also fancy.
You're good at this.
I've trained my stomach well.
Yes, you have.
I got my yell. Oh, pause while I beat up Dan.
You deserve it after your comments from yesterday. Oh, I'm horrible in some of these episodes too. Don't you worry. You might have to read ahead. So the takeaway here isn't Tex-Mex is fake. It's Tex-Mex is real, but different.
It's the food of a border identity. It's adaptation, and it's amazing.
But we do need to be more careful with our labels. When a fast food chain slaps a sombrero on a burrito and calls it authentic Mexican, that's where the harm comes in.
Because it flattens a whole culture into one cartoon taco.
Exactly. But when you know something is Tex-Mex and celebrate it for what it is, that's where the appreciation lives.
And now I want cheese enchiladas.
Same.
Dan, I feel like I just ate a history lesson the size of a mission-style burrito.
With extra guac and a side of truth bombs?
So let's unwrap everything we've just devoured metaphorically, and possibly literally, depending on how hungry you are.
Let's do it. We started with tacos, those humble corn tortillas wrapped around grilled meats, and watched them become the crunchy cheddar-topped icons of fast food.
We took a pilgrimage through burritos, from northern Mexico's simple meat and bean wraps to San Francisco's massive, overachieving rice logs.
We climbed Mount Nacho, from Nacio Anaya's late-night kitchen experiment to the cheese-drenched stadium-pumped snack that's somehow both appetizer and lifestyle.
We heard the sizzle of fajitas as they morphed from cowboy camp food to full-blown theatrical productions with steam clouds and legal waivers.
And we dipped a toe, or an entire burrito, into the fryer with the chimichanga. And oops, that became a legend.
Then we zoomed out and realized none of it is fake. It's just Tex-Mex. You know, this whole episode's made me think, what is authenticity in food?
That's $1 million question. Authenticity can mean a lot of things. For some, it's cooking exactly like your ancestors did. For others, it's staying true to local ingredients and methods. But in the real world, food is fluid.
It travels, it adapts, it evolves just like people do.
And Tex-Mex food is a survival story. It's the story of immigrants, mostly Mexican, adapting to a new land, new economy, and new customer base. They kept the soul of their food, but changed the face.
And we can love those dishes and still respect the deeper traditions they come from.
Exactly. It's not about shame, it's about awareness.
And it's not just Mexican food that got Americanized. I mean, we've done this with everything, time and time again.
Yep, we might be covering that in other episodes, from spaghetti and meatballs to General Tso's chicken, from sushi rolls with cream cheese to gyros made of meatloaf.
Can't wait for the mozzarella stick chronicles.
It's at least a trilogy.
But this one, the Tex-Mex story, feels especially American because it's about borders and blending and business and longing.
And comfort, because no matter where you're from, there's something deeply human about wrapping warm food in bread and sharing it with someone.
So let's leave listeners with a challenge.
Yes, the next time you're at Taco Bell or your favorite local Tex-Mex spot, ask yourself, where did this dish really come from?
Who made it possible? What journey did it go on?
What story does it tell about a place, a people, a moment in time?
And maybe order 2 tacos. One crunchy, one soft, just to be safe.
Smart. This has been Time Tellers, the podcast where history gets deep fried, covered in cheese, and still somehow teaches you something.
I'm Renee, nacho expert and part-time fajita enthusiast.
I'm Dan, full-time burrito whisperer and unapologetic queso loyalist.
If you liked this episode, leave us a review, 5 stars please, or a taco, or both.
I'm not sharing, so you better leave 2 tacos. Just don't ask us to pick between tacos and burritos. That's emotional warfare.
So see you next time, time travelers. And remember, history isn't always what it seems, but it's usually, in this case, delicious.